Hi guys, how is it going today? This is Brian at Business Software Magic, and I am just reaching out to share a little story. It's kind of about Easter and the springtime and things to think about. One of the things I heard this week just devastated me. The guys from our Bible study, one of them said, "You know what, guys? There's only 9 weeks till the days start getting shorter." And that's not so bad for most of you guys, but here in Minnesota, it's it's still snowy on the ground. We just had snow the other day. We were supposed to have some yesterday, but we had it about 3 days ago. We still got probably 8 to 10 inches in the yard, but that's not what I'm here to tell you about. I got another little story. You've probably heard this story before, and if you haven't, hopefully you can take it to heart. I don't know if it's a true story or not, but the lesson is full of wisdom. And every Easter, this family would have Easter and they would cook up a ham. And every Easter, mom would complain about cutting the ham in half because she would always take that big old ham and cut it in half and try to get it and then cook it. And year after year she did that, and the little girl in the house noticed that, "Hey mom, why do you cut the ham in half?" And mom said, "Well, I don't know, that's the way you do it." And the little girl said, "Well, do you have to do it that way?" And mom said, "Well, I don't know. Let me check with my mother, your grandmother." So the mom reached out to grandmother and said, "Hey mom, why do we cut the ham in half to cook it?" And grandmother said, "Well, I cut the ham in half because my pan's only this big, and that's the only way I could fit it in." And the mother kind of pounded her head and said, "Oh, I got a big pan like this. The whole ham fits right in there, not a problem." And there's pieces like that in your process that you may not be aware of, that you're kind of driving through and you're like, "That's the way we've always done it," instead of asking why. That's where I come in. That's where Business Software Magic comes in. Not only do we deal with software, but we really help you take a look at your entire process, what you're doing in your company, how you go from finding the customer to delivering to the customer, and all those steps in between. There's a bottleneck somewhere along there, and you know what it is. And that's your job as an owner, as a leader, as a manager of the company, is to take and decrease and remove all those bottlenecks to keep your business flowing from beginning to end. It might be a software problem. It might be we don't have a process problem. It might be the team doesn't know it. There might be a training problem. There's all kinds of sources that can cause that type of problem in your company. At Business Software Magic, we start out with a call. And we just do a 2-hour deep dive after you fill out a questionnaire on your company. And we explore what is your process. And if you don't have a process, we can work with you and help you create that process. If you don't have it written down, you need to write it down so that your team can do the process, so that your team can grow and expand. And once you have that process and you have software somewhere in that process, whether it's a spreadsheet, whether it's a banking system, whether it's just your bank, there's some software somewhere. And maybe there needs to be more, maybe there needs to be less. Oftentimes I talk to small companies that don't have enough money coming in to warrant all that software. They don't even have a real process, a real flow. Other times companies come in and they're buying software they don't need just because they heard about it from somebody. Sometimes people have a real need. One example I'll give you is I ran into a couple of guys a couple of years ago now, and they felt like they wanted a new website. And there's two types of people that get into this conversation with me. These guys were the good kind, and one of them, actually we're still working with them, I'm surprised, are the bad kind. And they came and they said, "Well, we need some help and we want to do something." And then our nature of kind of our mission statement is serving and guiding others to software systems excellence. If we don't know your systems, if we don't know what you're doing, we can't help you. And so the bad kind is the people that get defensive when they start hearing questions about their systems. Well, what do you do? I'm not here to steal your ideas. Nobody's going to take your business ideas and steal them and copy them. You are you. You are exclusive. You are special. But so we got through that hurdle. They just like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. I just want this. And that's okay, but I'd rather not work with you. I'd rather work with somebody who really gives a whole picture of their system. So these good example guys, Jay and Dan, I'll say, I met with them and we talked about, well, what's your process? Why do you want a new website? Why do you want a new website? Why do you want a new website? So really a lot of listening to that. That's a short question that I can ask. I might be talking a lot now, but when you and I talk about your business and about your growth and about your strategies in your software company, with software, it's a lot of listening. Why do you want a website? It turns out they didn't like the look of their website. So I said, well, what do you do? And they buy property and they sell property. Vacant land, woods and sticks like hunting property, camping property, things like that, tax distress property, and then they sell it. And I said, okay, what does your website do? And they go, well, we've got 2 websites. I'm like, oh, well, that's good to know. They got a buying website to buy property and a selling website to sell property. I'm like, okay, and so how do you do that? Well, we get all the properties and then going through the whole thing. And basically what they do is they enter it all into a database and then they copy it by hand into a website and they copy some of it from the other website into their database. And so at that point, we kind of looked at their whole process from beginning to end. I'm leaving a bunch of it out because it's not your business. It's just the problem that they solved. They came for a website. I don't like to do websites. I don't. But I do build web applications. I do build mobile applications. I do build databases and applications that work together, talk to each other, help connect other pieces of software together. And that's exactly what they needed. And they got 2 new websites that looked really nice. So we took their first website and their database and we connected those together so that when they're buying property, things can happen in their database. And then, here's the real magic. This database, when they clicked a button in there that we added a new button, it put that property on their other website. Did you hear that? When they clicked that button, put this property on the website, it was on the website. Bam. Where before they had to open that property up in their database and go, oh, okay, yeah, look at that. Now copy that over there. Okay, copy that, put it over there. Now their database talks right to their website. So that was a huge savings. They wanted to make some more sales. They wanted a nice looking website, but they were open-minded. They were willing and eager to share what their business process was and how they ran business. And then they decided to explore that with me. So they started with that kickoff session and Idea Web to kind of look through what are you doing and what do you see as the biggest needs. And a lot of times I find some biggest needs that people aren't aware of, and we work together through that. And then they dove into a dynamic discovery process where we discovered and designed the whole thing. And then through an iteration cycle, we built that tool out for them. And that is what I call software systems excellence. If you'd like to hear about software systems excellence for your company, head over to Business Software Magic and sign up for an appointment, and we'll get together. I'll send you a survey. You'll fill out all the questions on the survey. I may send you a couple email questions. We'll schedule a time. We'll jump on a Microsoft Teams meeting, and we'll talk about your business, and we'll sketch out where you're at, where you're going. We'll talk about those bottlenecks in your company. We'll talk about your process, where your process needs to change, where your software supports your process, where your software fights against your process, and we'll come up with a roadmap of where to go next to create software systems excellence for you and your company. My name's Brian with Business Software Magic. Thanks for spending some time with me today.